Nice insight, Steffi. Yeah, I think you're going to need a bigger box with more buttons. I'll just, like 20 or 30. Max and I can have these different comments. Max can say, ooh, that sounds risque.
Yeah, then I can do it all by myself.
That's exactly how I was speaking.
Hello, and welcome to SideQuest Source. Is that good?
That is so good.
Yeah. Just a session of just intros. Steph can find the best one.
Yeah.
And we'll put that at the start of every episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
What we need is a quote from Max, and you're going to have to say this now. And it's like, I play this card and betray you all.
I play this card and betray you all.
Yep. We can just use that in any game we play in the near future, or indeterminate future anyway.
Yeah.
That's still... I remember that game because I was so nervous. I was like... Okay, everyone was so nervous. Everyone was so excited, but we were for different reasons.
Yeah.
Because I did the math and I kept on doing it again and again. I'm like, yes.
I have to add now that like people probably don't know what the hell we're talking about.
That's true. Yeah.
We were playing Dead of Winter, wasn't it?
It was Dead of Winter.
It's a cooperative zombie survival game. Wonderful game. Very complex gameplay. Lots of different things you have to keep track of and different things you have to manage. There is one of the best mechanics I've ever seen in a game that one or more players might be a traitor. You don't know. It is entirely possible that every player is working together. Or it could be that more than one player is actually working against you. And you don't know until the end of the game. And we were just about to survive by the skin of our teeth. We had enough food. We had enough equipment. We maintained the fence. The zombies weren't coming in. It's the last turn of the game. It's Max's turn, and what do you do, Max?
Yes, that's it, yes. It was not only the last turn, but the very last turn of that round was mine. And all I had to do was put the food in the helicopter or something like that. And
A very simple job.
Very simple job. But at the start of the game, I pulled the traitor card. And it gave me a very, very, very clear objective. I could achieve that by not putting the food in the helicopter. And everyone was so excited. And Steph was like, yes, finally, we're gonna do this. Just put the food in the helicopter. I'm like, okay. I take the food and I destroy it. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yes, I do it and I win. Because that means you all die, but I make it. Because I was doing my own like secret stash or something.
And this was, 5 years ago now? And we
Yeah.
still haven't forgiven him.
It's a cherished memory.
Yeah, it's a great game, Dead of Winter. I would recommend it to anyone who's into more serious games, but it takes a long time to play.
Yes, I noticed from our first episode that we didn't really introduce ourselves. Who are we? Like, what do we do?
Oh, I don't even know what I do, man.
Tom,
Well, actually,
Yes,
who are you? What do you do?
I am Thomas. I am a teacher. I teach maths, physics, and a few other things as well, up to sort of middle school, high school, and polytechnic level. I'm a parent, got 3 kids, married, and I like to play games.
All right, I'm Steph, Steve, Steven. There's like a million different ways to pronounce my name. None of them, Stefano. None of them are correct. And I guess I'm a writer. That's the best summation of what I do. I write scripts, I write stuff for games, and then I do this kind of stuff. I like producing. Max?
I'm Max. I do various things. I have an education as a goldsmith, as well as a blacksmith metal artisan. And currently I'm working at a Icelandic horse riding stables as a general handyman / maintenance guy.
All right. As you've heard, basically we're just a bunch of normal guys who enjoy playing board games and role-playing games and the occasional video game as well. Well, hey, since we're on the topic of video games, why not then discuss about board games that are turning into video games?
Oh, God, yeah, okay.
Yeah, there's like a bunch now. What I've seen now, there's been... Well, actually, I'll start with the one I've been playing, Twilight Struggle. Yeah, that's the game. It's based on the Twilight Struggle board game, which is based on the Cold War, and it's amazing. It's been number 1 or number 2 at Board Game Geek, and it's just a wonderful card-based strategy game where one plays the US forces and one plays the Soviet forces, and you vie for influence in different countries. It's a really fun game, and now they've, it's been out for a while, but there's a PC version of it, and it's like spot on perfect. It's really fun 2-player game. And I think that's a very good example of transforming a board game into a video game, because now you can play it solo and still enjoy the essence of what the board game is all about.
Sounds good. I've played a few ports of computer games onto sort of board games onto computer games. Would be Settlers of Catan. There's like a iPhone version of it, and I mean it's fun. It's like a direct port. It's an exact version of the game, but you're playing with virtual tokens. The problem I have with these kind of games is there's always the risk of someone just going AFK and then killing the game.
Yeah, that's
the big problem.
That is terrible. I mean, there's a game I loved playing for a while called Blood Bowl. Yeah, Blood Bowl 2. And it's great. Visually, it's great. And it runs on the exact Blood Bowl rules. Maybe not the new one that came out, but it's if you know how to play Blood Bowl, the board game, or the miniature game, you know how to play this. And I really enjoyed playing it against a computer. And then when you start playing against real players, you're just like, yes. However, one of the strategies that I've run into, which I hate, is that people just let the clock run down. Because each time on your turn, you have 5 minutes. So I do my moves, and then I'm like, okay, it's your turn. And then they're like waiting, until it's like 5 minutes have gone. And then the last 10 seconds, they do their move. And I'm just like, ugh. So one game can take like 2 hours. And then if you start winning, then they quit the game. When you're doing it in real life, if you're playing the game with a friend, then if he's taking his time, you can go get a drink. You can pester him or something. But like when you're playing against someone you don't know, it really gets frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the general problem with all multiplayer games, with board games and such, they play over the internet, is the anonymity of it. And you don't know who's there. And then people are more willing to behave that way, because if you're playing a bit like a tabletop board game or a miniature-based board game like Blood Bowl, you did all the effort of turning up, you set the game up, and you're not then gonna, even if you're playing with a stranger, you're not gonna then just sit there and do nothing. You're gonna actually, because you're invested in the game now.
That's
you
true.
Turned up, the pieces are set out. It'd be that you can see the other person. It's really, it'd be rude to just not do anything and be weird about it. But over the internet, no one cares.
Yeah, you invite like some random dude over to your place and you get all the drinks and you set up the table, and then he comes over and he's like an absolute asshole. He doesn't talk to you. He doesn't look at you in the eye. He just sits there. He lets the clock run down, moves and then when he realizes he's losing, he just fucks off.
Yeah. I mean, imagine that happening, because there's board game stores that have play areas. But you can turn up and play board games with complete strangers. And if someone behaved that way in a social setting, they wouldn't really be. No one would really want them back.
Yeah, not really, or no one will just play with them. But I would say that that's more like in multiplayer games, though. But what about like online games where you're playing with friends? Like there's Tabletopia, there's the Tabletop Simulator. I mean, this is when you're literally just playing with your friends and you're playing a board game. I mean, we tried the other day that Dead Man's Doubloons online, and that was fun. That worked.
Yeah. We played Fiasco through.
We played Fiasco through it.
Good.
That was great. I mean, of course, D&D runs great on Roll20. But there's like Terraforming Mars now.
Yeah.
That looks great.
I mean, for me, the tactile part of board games is really important.
Nothing beats that. No.
But I mean, especially with the COVID lockdown, meeting up people to play games is harder. And in our special circumstances, with being parents, having dogs, having family commitments, having work, meeting up for a few hours of board gaming is challenging. So being able to play virtually through an electronic environment is still good. Not as good, but it's certainly better than nothing.
Well, yeah. I mean, it does. I mean, we strive to play at least in real life, once a month or something. With the more online games or board games that are coming online, it has given us the chance to still enjoy more frequent gaming like we did when we were younger.
We should try and differentiate, though, between a board game port, something like Blood Bowl, which is an actual game, and instead of having representations of models and tokens, there are animated models in the game. Yeah. And then on Tabletopia, it is literally a virtual copy of the board game with actual cards that you flip over electronically. Yeah. So, I mean, there are tabletop environments where you can play a board game, and then there are computer game versions of board games. And
well, Max and I played in VR Brass Tactics, which is kind of like 40K or fantasy, if you will. An RTS game where you have the entire board laid out in front of you like a battlefield. and then you're just moving the soldiers, and they're really walking, and they're really fighting, and you can go really up close and see them, and they're little clockwork machines, and it's like really cool looking.
I mean, that's like the Total War series, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like
actually, I mean, pretty similar to that, but it had its own rules and it worked its own way. But so you could zoom in and stuff, and that was fun because it had the hands-on experience. Because Tabletopia is very cool in that it is like the direct VR version of tabletop game. It has the board, it has the meeples, it has the cards and everything, but you're still interacting with it through a mouse. Or a touchpad, and it's not quite the same.
No.
Whereas the VR environment had the more like hands-on vibe to it, feeling to it. It's still not in any way comparable to actual physical tactile contact with actual cards and meeples and actually throwing dice and being in a live environment. But it was fun, and I would like to see something like Tabletopia in an actual VR environment where I can use the VR. I don't know if that exists.
I think Tabletop Simulator might have something, but it's not like not many of the games work on it.
Oh, okay.
Nah, but still, it would be fun, like just so you could actually pick up the cards and look at it and like actually use your own hand movements to how you're holding the card and like throwing the dice and stuff.
Yeah,
I would like to try that. I'd prefer playing Tabletopia games like that.
Yeah. One good thing about Tabletopia, which I like. We haven't done it quite often, but is there's a lot of games on there that I want to buy, but I'm still a bit iffy about them, and this gives a chance for us to play, try the rules and see is it any good or not. Like we played the presidential election campaign thing because I looked at the box and I read the story and I thought like, oh, this seems so cool, like we can run for president and do all the shenanigans, and then we started playing and. It started out kind of fun, but then slowly it started going kind of like, ugh.
Just huge quantities of bookkeeping. And the game would work better if it was a purely computer game system where it did all the maths for you. So you didn't have to count through each of the 50 states to count how many meeples you have more than anyone else. Because that just slowed the decision-making process. Games are about making decisions, and every time you have to stop to count something, it takes you out of the game. And that game was all about counting and bookkeeping and not about making decisions, and that killed it.
Yeah.
I mean, you compare it to something like Terraforming Mars, which the mechanics of the game are built into the board design, so counting everything is super intuitive.
Yes.
This brings up a very interesting idea. What are board games that could actually work better as video games? And this is where, because you're mentioning that, this is where I'm thinking, like the game that we're playing right now, the First Martians, it has an awful lot of stuff happening on the board. It looks beautiful. It looks great. But I can't help but feel that might actually work a lot better as a cooperative video game.
Yeah.
Because then every player would have their own panel, or there would be one mutual panel with the lights and everything. Then you don't have to worry about the upkeep of changing all the little red dots or the red cubes with the green cubes and stuff like that, because we still haven't spoken about this game, but it's this great game. Okay, let's explain what this game is so that people can kind of keep up with what we're playing. So we're playing a game called First Martians, and it is kind of semi-legacy type game, but it
continuing,
it has a campaign mode, but it has a bunch of missions that you can also play before the campaign mode. It says so you can kind of like learn the rules. Now, each mission basically makes the game run a bit differently, but as the heart of the game is just trying to survive on Mars and building a base. However, Mars is hostile, and your base is breaking down all the time, and we're just playing as scientists. And there's an app that you have, and it basically randomly generates the events that happen. It's basically a worker placement game with engine management
and engine building. I mean, the last mission, the last scenario we did was we've landed on Mars. We've got to unpack all the modules of our Martian base. They've landed in this area, and we have to go recover them, install them, plug them in, turn them on. We have a limited amount of food and power and oxygen, so we have to get the machines to make more. So we have to recover these modules. We have to set them up. We have to install them. Everything's broken down and not working. We have to repair them as we go along. And in the meantime, we're all getting tired, hungry, depressed, and ill. We have to look after our own players.
Or one guy just suddenly, starts eating all the food.
Yeah. Yeah, like someone, you got an injury, and the injury was, okay, you've got anemia now, you need to eat twice as much food. So our food supply is dwindling. We haven't installed the hydroponics modules of the base yet, so we're not making enough food. We've got a limited amount of time to get everything up and running before the mission runs out. And what got us at the end was we ran out of power. We needed energy to do everything, and we hadn't installed the second solar cell unit. We'd mistakenly prioritized other things, and we ran out of power, and we couldn't complete the mission in time.
Yeah. So, I mean, now imagine that if that game would be translated into a video game platform, or
even an app.
As a video game, then it's like, well, why do you need other players for? Then it's just a single player game, and that's what I'm thinking more of an app type, because to have other people involved. And I've got to say, I just want to say finish my thought on this. In this game, you'll get like different characters in the beginning. Everyone's specialized. And in that way, I'm invested in everyone else's actions and turns, and I want to be able to discuss them with everyone. What's our plan? What are we doing together? And on like an app or a computer game, you don't usually have the similar kind of discussion, because if we're playing it through an app, like through our phones or tablets, we're in different homes. We can't really talk about what in the similar way of what's our plan.
Yeah.
And it feels like then I'd be like, I'd probably end up like watching TV, and then it's my turn. I'd beep boop do the things my dude is specialized for. Like, whereas
you have a point actually. If it's then a video game, then there's not as much agency.
Yeah, the social aspects takes damage.
Yeah. I'd love to see it as an AR app.
I'm a bit skeptical about AR through phones.
You just don't like technology.
I love technology.
You just want to build things out of wood. It's like, it's not worth it if we can't burn it.
Well,
because then the enemy can't get it either.
Just fine.
Yeah, those lithium-ion batteries.
Yeah, they burn pretty well, actually.
Well, I want to pop in and say that one of the games that we have ordered and we're going to be getting probably sometime next year is Beyond Humanity's Colonies, and that is a technology-enhanced game. The setup of the board is all smart. So you you build a module to your base, you plug it in, and it connects with everything else and updates the system. All the bookkeeping is done through an app. The cards have little RFID chips in it. So if you want to play a card, you tap it on the module, it updates itself. So it's this hybrid between a board game and an app. You still have the physical objects in front of you, but to activate them, bleep, the game engine updates itself.
One of the things I really liked
about AR, isn't it? I mean, AR doesn't always have to be like through an app or through a camera, because it's still, yes, you're activating things. It's the technological complexity of it all.
Yeah, it's enhanced.
Well, one of the things I really like about that game though is that it's also like a colony building game, but it takes place in a persistent universe. So everyone who owns this game is adding to this persistent universe, which will affect your future game as well, because then there'll be like economies and all sorts of things. So no one's playing against each other. Everyone's just adding to the thing. So then, I just can't wait.
Wait, this is the Beyond Humanity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds... Usually, persistent universes, people can affect things. That usually doesn't go well.
No. I mean, they won't like. I don't think it'll affect things that like if they're going to implement something where, if someone does something, it'll affect your game. Then there's going to be those assholes who are going to be just like doing everything wrong. Because that's actually what happened with.
There was that chatbot.
There was a chatbot, yes.
Like learn things, and he did not. I mean,
it turned into a horrible racist.
Yes, a crazy racist Nazi madness, because people who understand programming will understand how these things
can be manipulated
and work, and then it's just now I'm going to hack the system to just do stupid stuff. Because
what I'm talking about, like persistent, like story wise, there was a 40K campaign. Was it?
Which one was it? It wasn't the. I'm trying to remember which one now. It
Was it
wasn't
the
the
Maelstrom
Armageddon
one?
one. It was later.
Yeah, something to, but it was to do with Armageddon.
Okay.
Or something with the Maelstrom or something.
Yeah.
But then everyone decided like, okay, we want these guys to win. So then they started like just pumping in numbers.
Like fake battle reports.
Yeah, fake battle reports for that army. And then, of course, they won. And it was just so one-sided. I remember I was playing Necrons and at that point, and it was just like we were like totally at the bottom. And I thought like, well, yay, that's fun. But now the Necrons are coming back. So...
Yeah, in case people didn't know, we're all Warhammer nerds as well. So
That's how we met, actually.
Yeah.
That is how we met. We met in Games Workshop.
Yeah.
And I used to work there.
I used to work there.
Yeah.
I was an outrider for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We all worked there.
Yeah.
Max and I, though, worked here in Finland.
Yeah, and I worked in different stores back in the UK.
Yeah, so you're more elder.
Yeah, I mean, I started at Games
veteran.
Workshop in 1997, so that was,
There you go.
a long time ago. I'm old.
I remember playing there and painting and then getting hired. That's where I met Petteri, Max's brother. And then we started hanging out. And then Tom came over all the time. And it was always cool when Tom came over because he was always so much fun. No, no, there are lots of fun people too.
You started, didn't the store open in 2003?
2003, I
Yeah,
think
that
it
was
started, yeah.
So, I mean, the store had just been established when I moved to Finland in 2004. So,
I mean, I applied when they were still looking for people to hire.
Yeah.
And I didn't get in the beginning. But that was just because I couldn't paint and I didn't know the rules. And
nothing's changed.
Thanks. But
Sorry.
I started. Then they hired me as an outrider, and then I started doing that quite a bit. And then slowly I got in, and I managed to bluff my way into like, yeah, I know all the rules. And I'm just like reading every day all the different, army lists and stuff. And then in the end, yeah, it was fun. Worked there for 3 years.
In my interview, I corrected a rule mistake that was printed in the official material. So they were like, okay, he knows the rules.
No, I still don't.
No shit, Sherlock.
No, I just remember, I mean, this is the fun thing, actually. 3 years working there and then playing almost every day, 40K. And then I think I only played against Tom maybe 3 times. It's like, what kind of fun should I have today? Maybe I'll just stab myself. That's how it felt playing against Tom. It's like you have your army and it's painted as best as it can. And you're trying to just enjoy yourself. And Tom comes in and is like, do you want me to kill you today? And you're like, okay.
It's okay. That's what I do. I'm not a kind
However,
person.
there was one game I think I did beat you. Was with my invincible Necron army. If you remember, I made a 2,000-point army that was nigh invincible, and no one let me change it until someone beat it. And then Petteri spent like 2 weeks secretly building an army, painting it so that he could only beat my army. He filled it with plasmas and stuff.
I think I've only ever played against your Dark Angels. I don't think I've ever played against your Necrons.
Then you feared my Necrons.
Fear no
You
Necron.
feared them. You knew that they were too good.
I'm going to dip into the 9th edition controversy at the moment because they've
There's a controversy.
oh god, yes.
What's going on?
It's
Tell
it's that like, okay,
We've veered into 40K now.
yeah, the 9th edition's just come out in end of July, I think it was. Beautiful models. The new main box set is stunning. Necrons and Space Marines. Necrons have got some new love. There's some wonderful new models. They are absolutely gorgeous. The Space Marines, though, have got new everything, and it's all better. And then all the Xenos players, all the other players are going, can we play too? Is this game still meant for us? And the sort of response is, no, we're just going to make more Space Marine stuff, and we're going to give the Space Marines the best toys. They've got new rules. Everyone can have an extra wound and some more range on their weapons. And yeah, it's like if you haven't got Space Marines, don't bother turning up. It's so one-sided as to be depressing.
That's tragic.
That
It
is tragic.
Now, hopefully this will be addressed when the new faction army books comes out, but that's going to be over the next 12, 18 months.
Why do that to your own game? It's like almost like inserting politics to a place where you don't need to. I mean, it's like the whole idea of the Space Marines and the Imperium is like, we are better than the Xenos. But technically they're not. They're just full of bluster. There's just more of them.
Yeah.
And then there's the Zergs, and then, or not Zergs, sorry, the Tyranids. And well, I always get mixed up with them because they knocked them off, so it's always the same thing. But then you have the Eldar, and you have the Necrons, and then you have the Orcs and whatnot, and they all have their strengths, but everything is very balanced. Space Marines are very vanilla. They're like kind of jack of all trades, but they're not like the best in everything.
Now they are.
But
Now they are the best in everything. I've got the new core set. I'm going to be playing with my son, my oldest son. We're going to be building the models together. I'll teach him the rules. And there's Space Marines and Necrons in the box, and they are just so beautiful models.
They are.
But my beloved Eldar will remain in the case until the balance issue is sorted out.
Until the
remain
stars
protected
have
until the
aligned.
rules change.
Yeah.
When the time is right for the Eldar to return,
Yeah.
they will wait in shadow.
I will just spend my time writing fan fiction until it's ready. Yeah.
Yeah, but that is tragic. And also, man, I just realized I haven't played 40K
I haven't played it like ever.
10 years, I think.
And yeah, I want to get back into it. It's a fun hobby. I enjoy collecting. I enjoy painting. I enjoy
It is a
the
great
game.
hobby.
Yeah. I'm thinking the same. Now that we're talking about it, I'm getting full of all these nostalgia vibes, and I'm like,
Yeah, me too.
Maybe
Me
I
too.
should.
But I have all the board games for now. But Tom is growing his collection. But
oh yeah, we
I
got
have
so
all
many.
the board games with all these models that I want to paint. So I'm doing that slowly.
Yeah.
And that's where my hobbiness goes. And I would love to play 40K, but I'm just too afraid to fall down that black hole again.
I mean, it's an expensive hole.
It is an it's a very expensive hole.
It is the plastic crack, yeah.
It is because I
need a new Carnifex.
Yeah, I need this.
I need it. It's only like €100.
Like,
or whatever
I don't know how. I
nowadays.
mean, when I was single, living alone, or living with Petri and you, and then we're like, we were working in Games Workshop, and then we could just like mail order like at like a horribly good discount, and we're like, oh, let's just like Forge World stuff. That's no big deal. I'll just get this stuff. Oh, I know. I have this crazy idea. I'll make an orc. What are they? What were those big titans?
Stompers. And
Yeah, I'll make a
guardians.
orc stomper, but I'll get all this extra bits that normally would cost like 300-400 euros, and then we get it like for $40 or something, and then I just build it and then use it for a few days. I'm like, it's not good. But like, I'm kind of afraid also if I would get into it that if what Tom is saying is real, who am I going to play against? No one wants to play against the Marines.
Well, yeah, exactly. If the situation currently is like the Marines are just best at everything, I'm like, well, I don't want to play against any Marines.
Well, I mean, I think the numbers that I've heard, Space Marines represent 60% of sales for the whole company. So that there are more Space Marine players than everything else added together. So from a financial viewpoint, you make new models for the armies that sell the most, because then you'll sell the most models.
Well, yeah, but don't change the rules.
But if you want people to buy the new models, they have to be competitive.
Yes, but if they're going to be competitive, then that's all
That's a
fair.
balancing issue,
However, if you're going to want people to play with Space Marines, you want them to play, and they're not going to be able to play them if people don't want to play against them.
No, so I think we're entering a new era of Space Marine and Space Marine violence.
We had one of those. It was called the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, well,
There's
now
gonna
there'll
happen
be
a new one now.
Yeah, except this is Loyal Space Marine versus Loyal Space Marine.
Yeah.
Because
No,
Chaos haven't got the update.
No, it'll be the upgraded Space Marines, because now they're the
Primaris versus Primaris, yeah.
Primaris versus the old guys.
Well, the old guys are getting a little bit of an upgrade as well. So, I mean, that could
But
work.
still, that's where the whole heresy is going to be. It's going to be the Boris heresy or something. It's like, yes, on Boris,
Boris Harris.
the Boris heresy. Look,
I think that's what they're going to call the current Conservative government in Britain. The Boris Heresy.
Yeah. We are old Space Marine. We do not like this new Primaris Space Marine.
Yeah, they can't even do the Slav squat, It's like
No. So we will have no heresy. Okay, maybe not.
Space Slavs versus Space Marines.
I'm fairly sure you could probably find an entire army of Space Marines that's been painted in Adidas tracksuits.
I was just about to say
Yeah.
that. I see it in my head.
tracksuit.
That's amazing. I want to do, and then you have to
gold
make
chains.
a bunch of them like have their squats and everything.
Oh man.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. But then again, I mean, it would look better on a Acadian army, on a Imperial Guard, because
Of course, yeah. Then they all have their AK-47s.
Yeah. They're all smoking and stuff. That would be. Everyone's got vodka bottles.
Oh man, that would be a really cool army.
I would like that.
That would be. They're just like really. They have attitude.
Yeah. Only one problem. There is no Cadia. It's gone.
What?
Yeah. Someone crashed a Blackstone fortress into it.
Wait, the Blackstone Fortress is gone?
And Cadia. It wasn't pretty.
Oh wait, no, I'm getting mixed up with what was that? The Dark Angels, like
The Rock.
the Rock.
Caliban, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's been a while.
It has this 40K, man.
When you're going deep in the fluff, I mean, I don't know any.
Well,
I don't know.
Hey,
I have no idea.
it's
what
been
you guys
so
are
long
talking
for me
about.
that I was going through the library, or no library. I went to the comic book store, and I was just looking at like what are the new books, and the Horus Heresy books are still going.
Yeah.
There's like 40 of them now, and I've only read the first 3, but then I saw there was like a new series of 40K books. You know, like in the 32nd century, the Chaos reign has been, stopped, and now there's been an unparalleled time of peace. And I'm like, oh, cool! Like a 40K game, like book series that takes place like after 40K. That Chaos has been, taken care of, and like for such a long time. And I'm reading all this stuff, and I'm like reading the back of these books, and I'm like starting to get confused. It took me like literally 15 minutes to realize this is the 32nd century.
I was thinking, didn't you just say 30 seconds?
Yeah, I said the 32nd century, and I'm thinking, 32nd century. Wow, that's the future of 40K, which is in the
40th millennia.
40th millennia. So I'm like, I'm a few thousand years off here, and then I'm like, oh. That would have been so cool to like have a series that takes place like in the future where the Marines won. Like they've cleaned the entire galaxy of all the aliens.
They've all become accountants now.
Yeah,
Interior designers.
Yeah.